California real estate exam. Here are 10 questions you're going to need to know to pass the California real estate exam. Oh, excuse me, salesperson exam. Before I dive into the questions, if you're interested in becoming a real estate agent, subscribe to the page. All right, now let's hit these questions. Question number 1. Jan failed to renew her license prior to its expiration. In order to renew her license now, Jan must A. Submit a proper application within 2 years of her license expiration. B. Provide evidence of the completion of current required continuing education. C. Pay the appropriate late renewal fee. D. All of the above. Jan, you should have never let your license expire. That was your first mistake. No, I'm just kidding. It happens to us sometimes. The answer is D. All of the above. So Jan will need to submit her proper application within 2 years of her license expiration date. She will need to provide evidence of the completion of current required continuing education. And C, she's got to pay that late renewal fee to the California DRE, Department of Real Estate. Question number 2. The main purpose of the California Department of Real Estate, DRE, is A, to protect the public. B, to ensure the qualification of applicants and issuance of real estate licenses. C, the regulation of the sale or lease of subdivision interests. D, to advise the California Real Estate Commissioner on real estate matters that are important to the real estate industry and the public. The answer is A. The California Department of Real Estate's mission is to protect the public in real estate transactions and provide related services to the real estate industry. Now, make note of this question because it feels like there could be 3 correct answers on this one, right? Answer A, protect the public. Answer B, ensure the qualification of applicants and issuance of real estate licenses. That is something that the DRE actually does, right? And then also D, to advise the California Real Estate Commissioner on real estate matters that are important to the real estate industry and public. That feels like it could be right as well. So on questions like this, where it feels like there could be multiple correct answers, you need to pick the best answer. So if you read the question carefully, it says the main purpose, right? And so the main purpose of the DRE, the mission statement is to protect the public. That is the number one thing. That is the highest and best answer. Okay, let's go to question number 3. Bill, the broker, received a very high offer on a piece of property from a buyer. Bill makes a low offer through a dummy purchaser or an accomplice who is not a buyer at all. Bill then sells the property to the buyer for the higher price, with the difference being profit. What's the violation? A, commingling. B, secret profit. C, false promise. D, dishonest dealing. The answer is B. Section 10176G of the Business and Professions Code covers secret profit cases where the broker, who already has a higher offer from another buyer, makes a low offer, usually through a dummy purchaser. The broker then sells the property to the interested buyer for the higher price, with the difference being the secret profit. So in this question, it's really important to just understand what each term means. So for example, right, commingling is when a broker commingles funds. They use funds from real estate with their personal, or they put, deposits into their personal. And so in this specific question, it's really important to understand what each answer means and the definition of each of those. Okay, moving on to question number 4. Katrina had her license suspended for making false promises to clients. She had a habit of telling clients what they wanted to hear and never being able to state the facts. Of course, she could never follow through with her statements, and several complaints were filed. Which guidelines constitute most suspensions? Answer A, sections 10176 and 10177 of the Business and Professions Code. Answer B, sections 10176 and 10177 of the Regulations of the Commissioner. Answer C, section 11350.6 of the Welfare and Institutions Code. Section 17910 of the California Code? Answer A. Sections 101.76 and 101.77 of the Business and Professions Code constitute the foundation for most license suspensions or revocations. Section 101.76b specifically covers false promises. So for this question, I think the biggest thing is just knowing what sections go with what codes or what kind of departments, right? So in this one, section 101.76 and section 101.77 go with the Business and Professions Code. All right, moving on to question number 5. The law judge has just issued a decision based upon the findings in a formal hearing of a real estate salesperson for various ethical violations. What could the California Real Estate Commissioner do at this point in the proceeding? A. Reject the proposed decision. B. Accept the proposed decision. C. Reduce the proposed penalty and make an official decision. D. All of the above. The answer is D. Once the administrative law judge issues a proposed decision based upon the findings, the commissioner may reject or accept the proposed decision, or reduce the proposed penalty and make an official decision. The respondent may petition for reconsideration and has the right of appeal through the courts. Okay, so we're halfway through our 10 questions. We're going through the California real estate salesperson questions, and I really hope that this video helps you pass your test. If you think this content is helpful, please like and leave a comment. So I have no way of knowing if this is useful or if you actually like this content unless you leave some feedback for me. If you have any other ideas or if you want any other specific type of content, drop it in the comments. All right, let's get back to the test questions. Question number 6. Sam, a broker, thought the postage meter stamp was sufficient evidence of a U.S. Postal Service postmark. He was wrong and his broker's license expired. What happened next? A. Sam's broker's license expired, so he had to cease all of his license activities. However, his salesperson still possess active licenses and may continue with business while Sam is temporarily unlicensed. B. Sam must immediately stop his license activity and his salespersons all lose their licenses as well. All must retake the state license examination to reactivate their licenses. C. Sam must immediately stop his license activity. His salespersons are all placed immediately in non-working status, and his branch office licenses are canceled. He must take all necessary steps to reactivate his license, his salesperson's licenses, and the branch office licenses. D. Sam must stop his license activity until he reactivates his license. The only salespersons affected are those with conditional salesperson's licenses. They may not reactivate their status and must complete the required courses to obtain a 4-year salesperson's license. Wow, there's a lot to break down in this. The answer is C, and we'll kind of cover why. So let's take a step back before we go into this one. Just keep in mind, California salespeople, their license is hung at a broker. So in this specific example, we're talking about Sam, who is a broker. And so when a broker's license expires, all license activities of the broker must cease. So the broker's salespersons are immediately placed in a non-working status, and any branch office licenses are canceled. So the broker must get their own license reactivated and then reactivate the license of each salesperson in the broker's office by submitting a salesperson change application. Finally, the broker must reactivate any branch office licenses by submitting a branch office application. So in basic terms, any salesperson who has their license under Sam, the broker here, they're in non-working status because Sam is not active. So Sam's got to get his broker's license active again. If he has any office branch locations, those are canceled. He's got to reactivate those. And then he's got to also reactivate all his salesperson's licenses. A lot to break down in that last question. take a second, take some notes on it, and then when you're ready, move on to the next question. Question number 7. Susan is thinking of putting her home up for sale, but doesn't want to use a real estate agent. What are her options? A. Susan must obtain her real estate license or use a licensed real estate agent to sell her property. She cannot be compensated for the sale of her property unless she is representing another person. B. Susan may sell her property herself without obtaining a real estate license. Although she will be compensated for the sale of her home, she is not representing another person. C. Susan will be negotiating the purchase price of her home and must be licensed to do so. D. Both A and C. The answer is B. Because Susan is selling her own home and not providing the service for another person, she is exempt from needing a license. Yeah, this one is pretty straightforward. It's Susan's house. Susan can sell her house if she knows how without a real estate agent. And if an agent wants to try to get some commission for bringing a buyer to Susan, they're going to have to negotiate. This is actually a huge misconception in real estate, is that you have to use a real estate agent. It's just simply not true. You could, if you own a house, you can sell it yourself if you know how, if you have a friend that's a real estate attorney, if you understand the process. But if you want maximum exposure, you probably want to hire a real estate agent. Question number 8. Miranda helps her friend Lupe purchase a home. She researches the neighborhood, assists her with a mortgage. She essentially acts as Lupe's real estate agent. There is only one issue. Miranda does not have a California license, and Lupe has paid Miranda for her help. Is this acceptable? A. Yes, it's acceptable. Miranda is a lender who makes federally insured or guaranteed loans. She has helped Lupe with her knowledge and experience, and Lupe has compensated her time. B. Miranda is simply helping her busy friend make good choices. She just wanted to put her knowledge of the real estate industry to work. Although she has never passed a licensing examination, she knows everything an agent does. C. It certainly is not acceptable. Miranda is accepting compensation for representing another person in a real estate transaction, and she does not hold a California real estate license. D. Miranda is in the process of studying for her license. She will be taking the examination before Lupe's real estate purchase closes. Miranda will be a licensed real estate agent at the close of escrow. So yes, it is acceptable. The answer is C. A person must be licensed if she undertakes or negotiates to undertake any activity that requires a license when that activity is for compensation and for another person. So C, certainly not acceptable. In terms of a real estate transaction, Miranda does not have a license, so she cannot accept compensation for representation of another party in a real estate transaction. Question number 9. The state fiscal year falls between the dates A. June 30th to July 1st. B. January 1st to December 31st. C. December 31st to January 1 midnight. D. July 1 to June 30th midnight. The answer is D. The fiscal year commences on the first day of July and ends with the 30th of June following. So keep in mind, calendar year, January 1st to December 31st. State fiscal year, just remember July 1st to June 30th. You'll be good. Question number 10. Hannah is a newly licensed California real estate salesperson. She has aspirations of one day being the California Real Estate Commissioner. High hopes, Hannah. We'd love to see that. How does she get there, and what does she do once she's there? A. Hannah must become an attorney as well as a licensed real estate agent. She would need to have the appointment of the governor of California. Her primary duty would be the qualification of applicants and issuance of real estate licenses. B. Hannah would have to be appointed by the California Real Estate Commission. Her primary duty as commissioner would be regulation of the sale of subdivision interest. C. Hannah would need to be elected the California Real Estate Commissioner in a statewide election. Her primary responsibility as commissioner would be to enforce the real estate law and subdivided lands law. D. Hannah would need the appointment of the governor of California. Her primary duty as commissioner would be to enforce the laws in a manner in which maximum protection for real estate consumers is achieved. The answer is D. California Real Estate Commissioner is appointed by the governor and serves as the chief executive of the Department of Real Estate with the responsibility to enforce real estate law and the subdivided lands law in a way to offer maximum protection for persons dealing with real estate licenses and for purchasers of subdivided real property. So, if we look at this question from a high level and we think about what is the purpose and the mission of the California Department of Real Estate, the mission of the California DRE is to protect the public. And so, what is the commissioner? The commissioner is the main executive of the DRE. The main responsibility of the California Real Estate Commissioner is to protect the public. So this question, three of the answers seem kind of correct, right? Answers B, C, and D. You need to pick the most correct answer here, and that is D. It's your lucky day. We got an extra question for you. So this is actually 11 questions. We got a bonus question for you here so you can maximize your studying. Bonus question number 11. Sam has successfully completed the Real Estate Principles course, the Real Estate Practices course, and an additional college level course, and passed the salesperson licensing examination. Which license is available to Sam? A, the 4-year salesperson license. B, an original salesperson license. C, a restricted salesperson license. And D, a conditional salesperson license. The answer is A. Applicants who provide proper verification that the application has completed all 3 required courses and has successfully completed the salesperson examination may apply for a 4-year salesperson license. Thank you so much for watching and joining me here, and I truly hope that you get your real estate license. So if you have any questions about the real estate exam, any of these questions and answers here, or just any questions about becoming a real estate agent and life as a real estate agent in California, feel free to email me.